What is taking them so long? They have been gone for a very long time. Come on already, they're taking forever. Come on, it's Friday. Don't do this. Move it, move it, move it. Let's do it. Let's get to it. I think I was on mute. Sorry about that. It's Friday. Come on. It's been a long, long break already. Let's get to it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for a new witness. Jen McCabe's going to need a vacation after this, 100%. Well, I think everybody will, including us. It's taken forever. All right.
Order the session, please be seated.
So, jurors, that break was longer than I told you it would be. We were waiting for some records to be printed, so it took a while, but we appreciate your patience. All right, Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, I want to shift gears to some phone calls that you had with Trooper Michael Proctor back in January of 2022, moving forward to February and March. Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Can you tell me, Ms. McCabe, if you recognize those documents that I just handed you?
Yes, this first one looks like a Verizon record of my phone.
Okay, and what about the second document?
Phone bill. And yes, more records from my phone.
Okay. I want to ask you a couple of questions. But before I do, I'd like to have both of those documents respectively marked just for identification. I don't anticipate entering.
M and N for identification.
Thank you.
May I continue? Thank you. Ms. McCabe, you had a number of phone calls with Michael Proctor on January 29th, moving into January 30th and on to 31st, correct?
Are you asking her to read the records, or?
No, not yet. I will in just a second.
All right, so turn the records over, see if you can answer the questions without looking.
Okay.
You had a number of phone calls with Michael Proctor in the days and hours following the incident, correct?
Yes, I know I had some phone calls, yes.
I'm assuming you don't remember exactly the time and duration of those phone calls as you sit here?
Correct.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your phone records that you supplied for this time period?
Sure.
There's two different documents, Ms. McCabe. One of them starts with January 29th. Can you grab that document, please?
Sure. Okay.
You should see some highlights on that document.
I do.
Did you receive a phone call from Michael Proctor at about 10:54 a.m. on January 29th, a couple of minutes in length?
I object to the form.
Okay. So you asked her if this would refresh her recollection. You need to ask her if this refreshes her recollection.
Sure. Do you remember, as you sit here, a phone call at 10:54 a.m.?
I remember getting a call. I don't remember the exact time.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the document that you're holding as to the time of that phone call? Time and date?
I see what the document says, but I just, in my head, if you ask me what time did he call you, I don't remember.
Do you have any quarrel with the accuracy of that document?
No, it looks pretty accurate.
Okay.
It looks right. It looks possible, yeah.
All right. Did you receive, as you sit here, do you recall, does that refresh your recollection that you received a phone call from Michael Proctor about 10:54 in the morning?
Does that refresh your memory now?
I know I did receive a phone call from him, yes.
At that time?
I don't know the exact time.
All right, so the answer is no.
Was it mid-morning?
Yes.
Did you receive another phone call on the 29th around?
Without looking, so this is again,
right.
You're being asked questions.
I'm going to go through this with each one of these calls. There's not that many, but a few.
Okay.
Okay. On the 29th, did you receive a phone call at around 12:49?
I know I received a phone call. I, again, don't remember the time.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at that document, the next line down, or the next phone call with that number?
Yes, I see that there's a call on this record.
Okay. Is your recollection refreshed that you did receive another phone call on the 29th from Michael Proctor?
Is your recollection reflect? Do you now remember independently that?
I don't remember the specific times, no, but I do remember that he did call me, yes.
Okay, so there's two phone calls.
Excuse me?
I only object to the form. I don't object to the record.
All right. So I guess the record is fine, but if you're asking it whether she remembers, you're not going to get anywhere, Mr. Jackson.
Well, then
So,
I'll just,
I'm being told that there's no objection
fine.
to the record, just the question where you're incorporating several things from
Fine, then that'll speed things along. I
the
appreciate
nature of the
that.
objection, Mr. Brennan?
Yes, I have no objection to the data coming in.
Thank you. I'm just going to speed things along, and I appreciate Mr. Brennan's assistance with that. January 29th, you see the record indicates a phone call from Michael Proctor, 10:54 a.m.
Yes.
You also see on that same record a phone call on January 29th coming in from Michael Proctor at 12:49 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Moving on down to January 30th, you see a record of a call at 9:51 a.m. from you to Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes.
January 30th, about a minute later, you see a phone call from you to Michael Proctor lasting about 22 minutes, correct?
Yes.
January 30th at approximately 4:45 p.m., you see a call from Michael Proctor to you, call lasting about 10 minutes.
Correct.
Going on to the next day, January 31st, you see a phone call from you to Michael Proctor at 11:51 a.m., just before noon, lasting about 4 minutes, correct?
Yes.
Take a look at the second document, if you will. That covers that document, or that time frame.
Okay.
The second document, you should see some highlights, and I'm going to ask you to start where there's a tab at February 14, 2022.
Okay. Am I looking at the second one or the,
May I approach you on?
Yes.
wait, this one? Yes.
Let me see the other document.
This one has the February 14th.
There you go. Thank you, Ms. McCabe. Taking a look at that document, and by the way, for the record, which one is that, M or N?
This is M.
M as in Mary.
Mary, yes.
Thank you. Do you see a record of a phone call on February 14th at about 3:55 p.m., lasting about 17 minutes between you and Michael Proctor?
Yes.
February 17th at about 5:19 p.m., is there a record of a call between you and Michael Proctor at that time?
Yes.
February 28th at about 12:48 p.m., is there a record of a call between you and Michael Proctor?
Yes.
On the same date, February 28th, do you see a call at 4:34 p.m. with you and Michael Proctor?
Yes.
March 1st at 10:16 a.m., do you see a record of a call between you and Michael Proctor lasting 10 minutes?
Yes.
March 1st, you should see two calls, one at 4:51 p.m. and one at 5:06 p.m. Do you see those two calls between you and Michael Proctor?
Yes. One was 1 minute and the other was 2.
Thank you.
Those.
And staying on that same date, at 5:50 p.m., do you see a call on March 1st between you and Michael Proctor lasting about 12 minutes?
Yes.
And then finally on March 29th, 2022, do you see a call at about 3:27 p.m. lasting about 4 minutes?
I'm sorry, what was the date?
March 29th?
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay. And that's about a 4-minute call at 3:27 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. And you had in fact, and that's all I have on those records. Thank you for
Okay.
that, Ms. McCabe. You had in fact met Michael Proctor in person on January 29th, correct?
Yes.
He was actually in your home and personally interviewed you, correct?
Yes.
Not only did you have him in your home, it was for the purpose of a formal interview between the two of you in person. Is that right?
Yes.
That was the time that Brian Albert was there
Yes.
in your home as well.
Yes.
And you had at least, I think we went through about 14 phone calls with Michael Proctor.
Yes, there are calls, but you're right about the number of calls, but some of them, I don't even know if they were answered.
And of course, that doesn't, and that may be true, but you were communicating back and forth, certainly,
Yes,
in the weeks and months following.
yes,
And that doesn't include, those records, just for brevity's sake, those records stop in March. But there were more communications in April, May, June, July, August, correct?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I think initially we communicated, but I'm not sure how long it went.
So,
And then I know we started communicating again in the summer of 23, I believe, or April of 23.
so you had spoken with Michael Proctor on the phone many times. We've just gone over those records, correct?
Yes,
You met him in person on the 29th.
yes, when he came to interview me at my house, correct?
You just took the words out of my mouth. That was for a formal interview with you, correct?
Yes,
And it was in your house that you met him for that formal interview.
yes.
And that was probably for some time. It wasn't a 2-minute conversation.
No,
Then in September or October of 2023, you were interviewed by Lieutenant Tully, correct?
I have been interviewed by Lieutenant Tully. I don't recall the date.
And you indicated just now that you began picking up conversations with Michael Proctor again in the summer of 2023, correct?
Yes,
So there were many more communications at that time, just before the September-October timeframe of 2023.
yes, but that was in regards to something different than this case.
Not the subject matter, but you had met him and talked to him more times in the summer of 2023, correct?
I never met with him. I just spoke with him.
Okay. In that interview with Trooper Tully, you were specifically asked about your relationship with Michael Proctor when Trooper Tully sat down with you in that, I think it was a September or maybe it was an October interview, correct?
I don't remember the specifics of the interview.
He asked you specifically whether or not you had met Michael Proctor, whether or not you had any sort of relationship with Michael Proctor. Is that right?
I'm not sure the specifics of the interview.
Isn't it true that you told Lieutenant Tully that you had, quote, never met Trooper Proctor prior to September of 2023?
No, because Michael Proctor was in my house in January of 2022.
Exactly. The interview with Trooper Tully, if I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
The interview with Trooper Tully in that fall of 2023, where did that take place?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Trooper Tully that you had never met Elizabeth Proctor or Michael Proctor prior to September 2023?
No.
Would it refresh your recollection if you saw a copy of Lieutenant Tully's report?
I don't need to see the report because I know I told him that I met him on January 29th when he came to my house.
So again, Trooper Tully wrote that you never met Trooper Proctor before September 2023. That would be an error by him, correct?
Object to ask for an instruction.
So again, that is sustained. Ladies and gentlemen, I instructed you on previous questions regarding the same type of thing, whether another witness is lying or not. Disregard the question and move on, Mr. Jackson.
If you had told Trooper Tully, Lieutenant Tully, that you had never met Trooper Proctor before September of 2023, would that have been a truthful or an untruthful statement?
I object. I'd like to be seen.
Okay. Come to sidebar, please. Next question.
May I? Did you tell Trooper Tully, quote, you had never met Elizabeth Proctor or Michael Proctor prior to September 2023, end quote?
I had never met Elizabeth
That's not the
Proctor
question.
prior. Well, there was a,
Did you tell Trooper Tully, Lieutenant Tully, that quote?
if I can break that quote up because it's two thick parts.
No, you can't.
So this
my
has
question
been
is my
asked
question.
and answered. Move on, Mr. Jackson.
Do you deny, as you sit here, telling Lieutenant Tully that quote that I just read? Do you deny it?
Sustained. Move along. The question's been answered.
Let's talk for a second about your phone calls to John O'Keefe on January 29th, 2022. I'd like to go through those calls with you briefly, if I could. Your Honor, this has previously been marked Exhibit 26.
Okay.
Mr. Brennan has a copy, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want this one? Thanks.
You've indicated on direct examination and earlier on cross-examination that you had multiple phone calls to Mr. O'Keefe in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Those phone calls ranged from about 12:14 a.m. until about 12:50 a.m., correct?
There was a call at 12:14 and then at 12:18.
I'm sorry, I'm bracketing it. The calls
I
were between...
apologize.
That's okay. 12:14 all the way to about 12:50, correct?
Are you saying 15?
50, 50.
Oh, 50. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Yes.
You called John O'Keefe at 12:14 and 31 seconds, lasting about 49 seconds, and that call was answered, correct?
Yes.
And you see that reflected in Exhibit 26, is that right?
Yes.
Going in reverse chronological order on this exhibit, you also see a call at 12:18 and 47 seconds, wherein John O'Keefe calls your phone lasting about 36 seconds. Is that right?
Yes.
You know that call was answered, even though it says it says unknown in the document, correct?
It does say unknown, yes.
That 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth column over. That's where it says unknown.
Yes.
But it also indicates that call lasted 36 seconds, so you know it was answered.
I don't know from this record it was answered, but I know from my memory that I spoke to him a second time. Yes.
You also made a call, moving up to the page before this, starting at the bottom of the page, at 12:29 and 44 seconds. There was a call from you to John O'Keefe's phone lasting 7 seconds, correct?
That's what it says.
And the record indicates that it was an answered phone call, correct?
According to the record, it was answered, but I never spoke to him.
You deny speaking to John O'Keefe at 12:29 and 44 seconds.
Yes, I never spoke to him after 12:18.
Okay. Moving up, 12:41 and 10 seconds. There was a call from you to John O'Keefe's phone. There was another call from your phone to John's phone, and that was also indicated as missed. Correct?
Correct.
12:43, 19 seconds. You called John O'Keefe. That was a missed call.
Correct.
12:46 and 16 seconds. You called John O'Keefe's phone, and that was a missed call.
Correct.
12:47 and 52 seconds. You called John O'Keefe's phone, and that was a missed call.
I'm sorry, which one was that?
12:47 and 52 seconds.
Yes.
At 12:50 and 37 seconds, you called John O'Keefe's phone, and that was a missed call as well.
Yes.
Ms. McCabe, there's 7 calls. That you indicate you made to John O'Keefe's phone and that were missed. Is that right?
According to this record, yes, they were
And
calls
that
missed.
comports with your memory, correct? You indicated that you had called him multiple times that morning and there were missed calls, right?
I called him, but I also think that some of the calls I might have done inadvertently.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second. My question is, that comports with your memory that there were several calls, according to the records, there were several calls made to John O'Keefe's phone, including 2 calls that you say you spoke to him, 12:14 and 12:18.
I spoke to him at 12:14 and 12:18, yes.
But you indicate every single call after that was missed, and you deny making those calls.
I'm not denying it, I just don't remember.
You've previously given explanation for what those calls were, these 7 calls that were missed between about 12:29 and about 12:50. That's 19 minutes. You'll agree, correct?
Yes.
If you divide 19 by 7, that's about every 2.5 minutes or 2.7 minutes, your phone is calling John O'Keefe's phone, correct?
Correct.
You've previously explained what you attribute to those phone calls. Is that right?
Yes.
What's your explanation?
I think I was going back and forth to the door. I was texting him. I think I put my phone in my pocket. I think I inadvertently maybe have called him.
What did you call it at the last hearing?
I believe I called it a butt dial.
And it's not just one butt dial, correct?
There could be multiple, yes.
7 butt dials in the course of 19 minutes, less than 20 minutes, correct?
That evening, I wasn't paying attention to butt dials or calls. I was going back and forth, listening to music, being with family. So if I inadvertently called his phone, I did.
Not inadvertently called him once, 7 times, correct? According to you.
According to the record.
And we only know about these calls because you're looking at an extraction of John O'Keefe's phone, correct?
Correct, but I also turned over my phone, so you could have gotten all of that off of my phone as well.
And you're well aware that an extraction was done on your phone and not one of those butt dials appears on your phone extraction, correct?
Objection.
Are you aware of that?
I am not aware of that.
Next question.
Weren't you confronted with that at the last hearing a year ago? Whether or not those phone calls actually exist on your phone logs?
Objection.
Do you remember that?
I remember you asking previously, yes.
When you dial somebody by mistake, it requires several steps, doesn't it?
I'm not sure. A lot of times I just put my phone down, and the next thing I know, I think it's very common to do butt dials.
So you have an iPhone, is that right? Or had an iPhone?
I do, yes.
And that iPhone required a biometric or a passcode to get into to even open the phone, right? It's not open right now, right?
It's not open, correct?
And it requires, your phone required some sort of biometric interaction with the phone, otherwise known as Face ID, or you put in a code, correct?
Yes, or I could have been texting, and then after I texted, the phone was open, and I could have accidentally called John. That happens to me all the time.
It also requires you to open the phone app, correct? For instance, if you're texting, you're in the text app. Is that right?
Actually, I'm not. I'd have to sit and look at it
Well, how often make phone calls, Mr. McCabe?
every day. Every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Hundreds of times a day, right?
Not hundreds.
Dozens of times a day.
Yeah.
You have to open the phone app to make a phone call. You can't call somebody from the texting app, right? Is that right?
I'm not sure. I don't know what to tell you.
There's a list of apps at the bottom of the phone.
Yes.
Messages, phone, right? Is that yes?
Yes, and maybe
And
I
that's it.
accidentally hit the last thing, the last call. Like, since I had talked to John,
Your Honor, at this point, I would ask the court to instruct the witness to answer my question.
I believe she is. Go ahead and finish.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay?
Why does he have to pound like the dumbest questions in there? Get to something that like is going to make a difference. We've heard all that. I think we should name the fan. Fanny fan, 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 fanny fan. Dave, can you hear me? Dave. Taco Dave. Calling Taco Dave. What is wrong with this thing? Charlie. Ah, that's funny, Charlie. Yeah, I butt dial all the time. So who do you think the next witness is going to be? Do you think they're even going to call the guy that had the really bad text messages? Why can't I remember his name? Was he a proctor too? Everybody's so related and intertwined. It's nuts. I wonder if there's any like incest that nobody knows about. Well, Dave, you're right. If she butt dialed, she would have had to hang it up. But did they say they were one after the other? I mean, Proctor's messages are really bad, Jen, but I know from being married to a cop for so long that it sometimes they do that, but I don't think it means that they beat him up. Here we go.
Jumping the gun.
So let me, Ms. McCabe, answer only the question that's being asked of you, okay?
Ms. McCabe, you're aware that when you're in the messaging app, you have to do something else volitionally to open the phone app, correct?
Correct?
You have to touch the phone, is that right?
Yes.
That would open a separate app, correct?
Correct.
Then, once that phone app is open, then you have to choose the person to call, correct?
Yes, sometimes the last dialed.
Right.
Yeah.
And if that happens to be the last dial, scroll through, pick a person, make one tap, and that calls the person and initiates the call, correct?
That is one way, yes.
But if you get out of the app, I'm sorry, if you close your phone, hit the lock button after a text message, none of that can happen without you having to open the phone and engage the phone additionally, correct?
If you hit the button to lock it, yes.
Right. So you indicated that these are all missed calls. Is that right?
That's what the records show, yes.
In addition to a missed call, you've had missed calls before. You both received a missed call and you've made calls that were missed. Is that right?
Yes.
When you make a call that's missed, generally goes to voicemail, does it not?
It does, yes.
So then you have to do something additional with that call. Push the end button, correct?
Correct.
Otherwise, voicemails just go on forever. And actually, they go on for 4 minutes,
Okay.
right?
I don't know how long voicemails go for.
So if you had missed calls, 7 missed calls, that's at least 14 interactions, double it, because you got to make the call, then you got to end the call. 14 interactions with your phone for a single missed call. I'm sorry, for 7 missed calls.
It could be, yes.
And your testimony is you don't remember making a single one of those calls to John O'Keefe between 12:29 and 12:50, correct?
I do not remember making those calls, no.
As you sit here, do you deny making those calls between 12:29 and 12:50? $50 to John O'Keefe.
Oh, I'm not denying that, no.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about January 29th, a little further on in the morning after you got home from 34 Fairview. Approximately what time did you get home?
I'm not sure, maybe around 11.
Let me rephrase the question.
Okay, sorry.
On the night of the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022, you left Fairview.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What
Okay.
time did you get home then?
I was after 2, I believe. I'm not positive.
You went upstairs, is that right?
Yes.
You began to engage with your phone at
Yes.
that time. What application did you open up on your phone once you got upstairs?
It could have been Hockomock Sports.
I'm sorry, I'm backing up foundationally. What application on the phone? Was it Safari?
Oh, okay, yes. I think, yes.
You use Safari as your browser?
I'm not sure what I used.
You opened up a search engine as well within that browser, did you not?
I just know I Googled Hockomock Sports, I believe. I'm not sure what app I opened or how I went about it.
So Google is a search engine. You use
Okay.
Google.
Possibly. I mean, that's just an expression, but I'm not, if you could show my record, I'm not sure what app I opened
Well,
or
Ms.
what.
McCabe, you've seen this record many, many times about that search early in the morning hours, correct? You know that it was a Google search.
It was Google. Okay, it was a Google search.
Okay, so it was a Google search using the Safari app.
Okay.
You indicated that you were Google searching Hockomock Sports and something about Ozone?
Yes.
Ozone Sports or
It
Ozone
was
Basketball?
Yes.
What time was it that you did that Google search?
It was when I was home up in bed. I don't have an exact time.
About 2:27 a.m., correct?
I'd have to look at a record. I don't recall off the top of my
recall
head.
that time frame, don't you?
I know I was home and I Googled that, but I don't remember the exact time.
You do recognize 2:27 a.m.
I do recognize it, but it's not from me remembering it from that night specifically. It's from me learning afterwards.
And what you learned afterwards was there was a Google search at 2:27 a.m. Right? I mean, that's a layup, to use a basketball term, right?
There's a record, I think, of one.
Right. The record is of a Google search at 2:27 a.m. on your phone. Is that right?
I'm not a phone expert, so I don't know. I can't read.
You're well aware. You don't have to be a phone expert to know that there was a Google search on your phone recovered at 2:27 in the morning. You know that. You've been told that. You've seen it. You've been asked about it dozens of times, haven't you?
I have been asked about it dozens of times, yes.
So let's set the foundation. There was a Google search on your phone at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Which Google search are you referring to?
It doesn't matter, Ms. McCabe.
Well, I know I did Ozone and I did Hockomock Sports.
And I didn't ask
And
you
those
that.
were the only two things that I Googled.
I didn't ask you what you Googled. I haven't gotten there yet. We're going to get there. I've asked you, was there a Google search at 2:27 a.m. on your phone?
If you want to show me a report.
Sure.
Okay.
You don't remember, as you sit here, you don't remember that.
I don't.
You have no record, you have nothing in your mind about a Google search at 2:27 a.m. That's what you're testifying to in front of this jury right now.
Are you asking me if I made a Google search at 2:27?
Yes.
I don't know what time I was searching for Hockomock Sports and Ozone. I have no idea what time that was.
You're well aware that your records have been pulled, correct?
Yes, they have.
You've been confronted with those records many times, haven't you?
I've been asked by you, yes.
And by others, right?
Yes.
I mean, the police have asked you about it. You've been interviewed about it.
I've been asked by you.
And Mr. Lally?
Yeah, Mr. Lally asked about it, yes.
And every time you're asked, it's about a Google search at 2:27 a.m. That's all I'm asking.
It is, but it's not one that I remember doing or making or did. It's not one I did. It's just one that is in a record that was misread.
Are you denying that you made a Google search at 2:27 a.m.?
If you could show me this Google search, I'd appreciate it.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, I need a quick minute to find a record that I did not make aware of. Can we take a brief recess, about 5 minutes?
I'll see counsel at sidebar. If Ms. Little wants to keep looking, we'll come to sidebar.
So many sidebars. I wish they would get past this. I wish they would get past Jen McCabe. Come on already. There's no way. Is she going to go all the way to Monday? No. Could you imagine being on a witness stand that long? That would really suck. I don't like to sit that long. Hawk to a sports. Dave. That's funny. Move on already. So I understand why he's asking about the phone calls and there's some conspiracy. I just don't see how they tie it in.
We're trying not to have you take a recess, so the lawyers are just going to get something done fairly quickly so that we can continue up
they
until the
not
luncheon
have-
recess.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe, I don't have a paper copy, but I'm going to ask you to take a look at something that we display on the screen and ask you a couple of questions about that. Can you zoom in?
I object to the way it's presented here.
Okay, take it down. That's not how it appears. You need to get rid of the column. Right?
That's exactly how it appears, Your Honor. That's the
I'll see
record.
counsel at sidebar.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing how a butt dial. Just all these calls. Was this them colluding with their story after? Is that what he's saying? Hi, Monica. Happy Friday. Jen McCabe is still on the stand. Okay, I have to go get some Orajel in my little mouth. I'll be back.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Found the paper.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience, Your Honor, and Ms. McCabe. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
You indicated you wanted to see a record, Ms. McCabe. Did you see a record that indicated a Google search? Not what the contents of the Google search is, but there was a Google search.
I just saw a Celebrate record, yes.
And did you see the time of the Google search?
On that record, yes.
It's at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Ultimately, you will agree that there was a Google search done, and now I'm going to ask about the content of Hoslong to Die Cold, correct?
That was done in the morning at the request of Ms. Reed.
Ms. McCabe, I didn't ask you that. I asked you a yes or no question. Did you understand my question?
Could you repeat it, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Did that record indicate that there was a search at some point done, at some point, for Hoslong to Die Cold?
I object to her reading the record. I'll look.
So was there a search on that at some point?
On that paper, was there a search that said that? Is that the question?
Let's start with that.
Yes. Yeah, there was.
Die Cold. Yes or no?
Yes.
On January 29th, correct?
Yes.
So you agree that you were on Google, correct?
Yes.
You agree that there was a search done at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I don't recall doing a search at 2:27. The paper says it. I don't.
Okay. And you also agree that at some point that morning, you plugged into that phone Hoslong to Die Cold. Is that right?
Yes. After we found John O'Keefe.
Now, you claim that that was at 6:23 and at 6:24 in the morning. Two iterations of how long to die in the cold. Hoslong to Die Cold, how long T.I. die in CIKD, correct?
I'm not claiming it. It's the truth. It's what happened.
You're testifying to that.
Yes, I am.
You also testified that at the time you Google searched those phrases, it was Karen Reed screaming and yelling at you, shaking you to Google hypothermia, correct?
She was pulling on my sleeve,
Is
yes.
that yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You have discussed this Google search and the issue of the hypothermia with Carrie Roberts, correct?
I told her in the days following.
You discussed it? or-
Yes.
You discussed it in the days following January 29th, correct?
Yes.
You discussed it before her testimony at the grand jury, correct?
We discussed it after. We don't talk about what we're going to say before testifying or anything like
in
that.
the 3 months between this incident and the testimony by both you and Ms. Roberts, you two did not discuss this hypothermia issue?
It wasn't an issue. It was just something she said, but we don't discuss it every day. There's no need to.
I didn't ask you to discuss it every day. I asked you if you ever discussed it.
Originally, yes, we did discuss it in the first days following all of
And
this.
that would have been before either one of you testified at the grand jury, correct?
Yes.
And we know that you were with her during her, just before her testimony at the grand jury. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're certainly aware that at the grand jury, that in prior testimony, Carrie Roberts corroborated your statement that Karen Reed demanded to Google hypothermia.
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Are you aware that Carrie Roberts, well, let me ask it a different way. Have you and Carrie Roberts ever discussed the fact that she corroborated your statement that Karen Reed demanded that you Google hypothermia?
No.
She ever told you that?
No.
Did you ever ask her that?
No.
Did you discuss your statement that Karen Reed was the one that demanded that search?
Karen Reed did ask me to do the search, yes.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. Did you and Carrie Roberts discuss that?
Yes, we've talked about that.
Are you aware that last week Carrie Roberts denied hearing that statement?
Objection.
Sustained.
Have you been told, have you been updated that last week Carrie Roberts denied ever having heard that statement?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes. Jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch. So just one question on this. Just one question on this, please, Mr. Judge.
Have you become aware from any source that last week Carrie Roberts denied having heard the statement that was attributable to my client?
No.
You aware of that?
No.
You've reviewed the video from the dash cam out at the scene, correct?
I've seen it, yes.
You're aware that there is no video showing my client demanding a Google search anywhere in this case, correct?
I'm not sure what cameras were where.
You're aware that there's no audio of my client demanding a Google search, correct?
Correct.
You're unaware of any witness who can corroborate your statement that my client demanded a Google search. Any witness at all.
It was just the two of us. She had sent Carrie off.
So, of course, Carrie Roberts is not such corroborating witness. Is that right? At least you understand that.
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Carrie Roberts is not a corroborating witness for you. You understand that? You just said that.
Yes, Carrie, I don't believe heard it. She
So
was
it's-
sent off.
So it's your word and your word only, Ms. McCabe, that my client demanded a Google search. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. McCabe, you were with Carrie Roberts just before her grand jury testimony. Is that right?
Yes.
You had been with her to create a timeline of a version of events that occurred, correct?
I wouldn't say a version of events. We each put down what we remembered.
She saw what you put down, you saw what she put down,
Yes.
and you compared and contrasted those with each other to create that timeline, correct?
No, we didn't compare and contrast. I said she called me, she said this, then Kerry, and someone was writing it down for us.
That would be your sister. Who?
It was my sister, yes.
Which sister?
My sister Denise
What's your last name?
Galvin.
Is she here?
She is here, yes.
Where is she?
She's sitting over there.
Can you point to her and describe what she's wearing?
Sure, she's over there in the back with the striped shirt on.
Between the gentleman in the purple and the gentleman in the black?
Yes.
So she witnessed this timeline being prepared, correct?
She wrote the timeline, yes.
And then you've spoken to Miss Roberts several times about this case
Yes.
and about your perceptions of this case, correct?
We talk about what happened and the aftermath of this case. We don't talk about the specific details as much as we talk about the aftermath of everything.
Ms. McCabe, the fact is you instructed Carrie Roberts to say that she heard that Google hypothermia statement from my client before she testified at the grand jury, didn't you?
No, absolutely not. I never instructed her to do anything.
You wanted some witness to back up your story about this Google search, correct?
No, absolutely not. I don't
Ms.
need.
McCabe,
It was said. Karen said it. It's that simple.
so you're the only person saying that, though.
Yes, and I stand by that 110%.
And the reason that you wanted another witness to back up that statement is because you knew that that Google search for Hosselong to die in cold points a very uncomfortable finger right toward you, correct?
I never did that search at 227. I never needed to instruct somebody. No, I'm sorry.
There's an apology again. Has someone told you that you need to apologize when there's an uncomfortable question that you don't want to answer?
No,
Have you discussed this with anybody?
no, and that's not an uncomfortable question. I'm fine to answer it.
How many times did you say, I apologize yesterday in cross-examination?
I didn't count.
Probably more than 15, right?
I have no idea. I'm just trying to answer the questions and be truthful as I can.
And you're aware that the Celebrite extraction that was done on your phone determined that of the three searches, 2:27 a.m., 6:23 a.m., 6:24 a.m., only one of them was recorded as deleted, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Have you ever been confronted with having deleted a Google search off your phone? You ever been asked that?
Yes, by you.
Do you deny that you deleted a Google search off your phone?
I never deleted a Google search off my phone.
So you
I
deny
never did that. I deny it, yes.
that you ever deleted a Google search?
Yes. I never made the search.
I'd like to move back to the time of about 6:03 in the morning, Ms. McCabe, when you, along with Carrie Roberts and Ms. Reed, approached 34 Fairview. This is Exhibit 4. It's been previously entered into evidence, and I think you've seen part of this exhibit. Do you recall, before we get to the exhibit, do you recall my client when the first officer on scene, do you know his name, by the way?
I believe it was Officer Seraph.
When Officer Seraph approached, he asked the question, what happened? Something like that. Open-ended question. Do you remember that?
I don't remember what he specifically said.
Do you remember my client a few seconds later saying, my boyfriend, I left him, he never came home?
I don't remember the specifics of what was said.
Your Honor, if we could, I would ask that we queue up Exhibit 4 for the jurors at runtime 420.
Okay.
Before we play this, I'm going to play just like a second of it and ask if you can hear the volume.
Okay.
We could, Mr. Wolf? Could you hear anything?
Oh, I can hear, yes, sorry.
Okay. I don't know how loud it's going to be, quite frankly.
Okay.
Ms. McCabe, Will you please pay attention to the audio portion of this video as this is played? Could you hear that?
I heard something.
Could you hear my client? Did it sound like Miss Reed?
It sounded like a female.
Did it sound like Miss Reed, female?
I'm not sure. Could I listen to it again?
With the court permission, one more time.
One more time.
Could you hear it?
I could hear it, yes.
What did she say?
I have no idea.
Did she say, my boyfriend, I left him, and he never came home?
I could not make that out.
You testified on direct examination that you were basically a passenger along in this ride on the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022, that you were not the person in charge, correct?
I was in the passenger seat and Miss Roberts was driving.
This is a bad question on my part. Let me see if I can reframe that. You testified that it was Carrie Roberts who was basically the take charge person in the scenario between and among the three of you, Miss Reed and Miss Roberts. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Not you, correct?
No.
You were just sort of along for the ride, assisting how you could, correct?
I was trying to help Miss Reed and find John O'Keefe.
If we could play a clip starting at, and I'm going to ask you, Miss McCabe, to take a look at several clips. The first one starting at 6:21 runtime to 7:41. It's just over a minute. With the court's permission?
Yes.
Pause this. Do you recognize the three individuals in the foreground of this video?
I do, yes.
Can you start from left to right and describe for the jurors who we're looking at?
I believe that's me in the black coat. To the right of me is Miss Roberts, and on the other side of the car is Miss Reed.
Miss Roberts has, just to distinguish, Miss Roberts seemed to have fur on her hood where you did not.
Yes.
If you could go ahead and play that, please. Pause it, please. Can you see who it appears you're talking to at that point?
I don't know who that is, no.
Go ahead and play it. Pause it. Does it appear that you're engaged in conversation with that person while Miss Roberts is attending to something in the truck and Miss Reed is running back and forth?
Yes, I was speaking to whoever that was.
Do you believe that was a police officer?
I believe, yes.
Go ahead and play it. Mr. Wolk, if you'll stop it at 7:41, please. Could you see what was depicted in the video for about that minute and 10-second runtime?
Yes.
Did it appear that you were engaged in conversation with that other person?
Yes.
When that other person walked away, could you see his jacket?
I couldn't make it out, no.
Did it appear to be he was a police officer?
I'm going to assume it was a police officer, yes.
Okay. In that video, who looks most like she is taking charge, you or Carrie Roberts?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does it appear in that video that you're the one controlling the narrative, at least with law enforcement at that point?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does it appear in that video that you're the one engaging in conversation with law enforcement while Carrie Roberts and Ms. Reed are otherwise occupied?
I am speaking with law enforcement, yes.
Can we move to runtime 8:56? Pause it. Can you see yourself in that video?
I can, yes.
Which person are you?
I'm in the far right.
Speaking to someone?
Yes.
Who is that you're speaking to?
I can't make it out, but it looks like a police officer possibly.
And Ms. Roberts is directly in the middle of the screen, is that right?
I thought that was Miss Reed, but I could be wrong.
Let's go ahead and play it. And at 9:26, you'll stop, please. In that video clip, who among the three of you appear to be most engaged with law enforcement at that time?
Can you tell? Can you answer that, Ms. Reed? Can you answer that, Ms. McCabe?
Yes, I can. I was speaking to police officers. Yes, I was trying to help them.
Okay. Can we go to runtime 10:49? This will be from 10:49 to 11:55, Mr. Wolk. Pause it. Who is it that's just gesticulating in the video?
That is me.
Can we go ahead and play it? Did you see yourself in that video, that clip, about a minute-long clip?
Yes, I did.
Who among the three of you appeared to be most engaged with law enforcement in that clip?
I was.
Runtime 20:22, Mr. Wolk. Stop it. Do you see yourself in that video?
I do, yes.
You just walked in from frame right?
Yes.
From frame right going left?
Yes, behind Miss Roberts.
Okay,
Yes.
and that's you right in the middle of the screen?
Yes, it is.
And Miss Roberts had already run through, went to her SUV, correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and play. This is about a 2-minute clip for the court's edification.
All right.
And this is the last of them. Mr. Wolk, can you pause it? Can you tell who you're speaking to there?
I think it's Mike Lang.
Go ahead and play it. Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, who was most engaged in that clip with law enforcement? Between and among you and Kerry Roberts and Ms. Reed?
I was.
You noticed when Mr. O'Keefe was placed on the gurney in a prior clip and moved past you, correct?
Yes.
Did you notice what your reaction was when that gurney passed you?
I didn't know.
Did you see that you turned your back completely to Mr. O'Keefe as he passed by?
If that happened, it wasn't on purpose.
Ms. McCabe, when you got to the scene, we can take that down. When you got to the scene at 6:03 in the morning, you immediately recognized, did you not, that this was an emergency situation? High-intensity emergency situation, correct?
I knew it was an emergency situation, yes.
As a matter of fact, a man's life was in grave danger. You knew that.
Yes, I did.
And this is someone that was a friend of yours, correct?
Yes, he was a dear friend.
Not just a friend, but a police officer who was laying, as far as you knew, dying in the snow. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that you needed to get immediate medical attention, emergency medical attention to him as quickly as you possibly could. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that minutes counted, right?
Yes.
You knew that seconds counted, correct?
Correct.
This man was grasping, as far as you knew, grasping and clinging to life at that moment. Is that right?
Yes.
That's why you called 911, to get emergency personnel who are trained in CPR and life-saving measures to the scene, to the gentleman, to Mr. O'Keefe, as quickly as you possibly could, correct?
Yes.
You called 911 at about 6:03 and 35 seconds. Is that right? I don't expect you to know down to the second, but it was about a couple of minutes after 6.
Right after, yeah, we found him, yes.
And you're aware from the dash cam that Officer Seraph got there about 6:10, almost on the nose, right?
I didn't pay attention to the time.
You'll agree with me that there was about 6.5 minutes or so between the time you called 911 and the time Officer Seraph got there. Is that right?
If that's what the dash cam says, yes.
On that 911 call, you referred to John O'Keefe as a man passed out in the snow.
Yes.
You didn't say, "This is my friend."
I needed to get, like you said, emergency there. So
Did
I
you
wasn't
say,
going to
"This is
give
my
a
friend"?
I wasn't going to give a description and say my friend is in the snow. I was going to give them the information that I thought was the most important at the time.
Did
And
you say his name?
I just said a man because that was the most important identifying.
You didn't say John.
Eventually in the 911, I do say his name.
You didn't initially say O'Keefe, correct?
No, none of that matters. It was a man in the snow, and I
you
wanted
didn't say,
help there.
And you didn't say he's a Boston police officer or an off-duty police officer.
Again, a man needed help.
Yes or no? Did you
No,
say that?
I didn't.
Do you think that might, yes or no, do you think that might have sped things up if they knew, if the 911 operator knew that this was a fallen officer, a fellow officer?
I think 911 comes to everyone equally. I don't think they would have.
Do you think that might have been something important to relay to the 911 officials?
I don't know.
You were even asked by the 911 operator, does anybody know CPR? And your answer was no, correct?
I'd have to listen to it to remember my exact answers.
But it was basically in the negative. No, we're not professionals. We're just out here doing the best we can, correct?
I wouldn't say that, no.
You didn't believe Karen Reed knew CPR?
I didn't know. I don't think I answered that question. I don't think it was asked.
You didn't know if Kerry Roberts knew CPR, correct?
I didn't know if they knew CPR, correct?
And none of you were paramedics?
No.
None of you were first responders?
No.
None of you were trained in emergency life-saving techniques in any way, correct?
Correct.
I have a question, Ms. McCabe.
Mm-hmm.
On all of Fairview, the entire road between Chapman and Cedar Crest, can you think of any person on that road who might have had life-saving techniques trained into them? First responder, someone who knew how to deal with someone in distress, someone with high skill level training. Do you think of anyone on Fairview who had that kind of training?
Can I now or did I then? Which are you asking?
Did you then?
No, then my focus was on John O'Keefe.
Okay, let me narrow the focus. How about on the property? How about at 34 Fairview? Could you think of anyone that was a first responder who would have life-saving training, life-saving technique training under his belt?
Yes, my brother-in-law, Brian Albert.
And you didn't go in the house, did you?
No, I did not.
When you arrived at the scene, you didn't go in? Not until much later, correct?
Our focus was John.
You knew that Brian Albert was inside the house. You'd just been with him hours earlier, correct?
Yes.
You knew that his window was 30 feet away. You were staring at it. You could look at it if you wanted to, correct?
It's off to an angle.
And you didn't go in the house then either.
I did not know.
You knew that John O'Keefe was clinging to life during those precious minutes and seconds. Is that right?
I did, yes.
And you also knew that Brian Albert, your brother-in-law, was a first responder trained to deal with people in that kind of distress, correct?
In that moment, my only thoughts were John and everything we could do for John.
And you knew that there were warm blankets inside the house. Is that right?
I did, yes. There were warm blankets in the house.
And you still never went in, did you?
No, I went and attended to John because once I finished calling 911, I went over to John and Kerry Roberts asked me to take over compressions. So I felt like that was more important and 911 was on the way. I never thought about going in the house. I just thought, how can I help John?
You never thought about going in the house, but you did pull out your cell phone and make 2 phone calls, didn't you?
After I called 911, I tried calling my sister, yes.
While John was out in the cold, clinging to life, you weren't doing chest compressions at 6:07 and 6:08, were you?
I was walking over when I was calling.
You were calling your sister on the phone, weren't you, Mr. Day?
I was calling them to see if they would come out, but I was going right over to work on him.
And you could have walked the 25 feet to the front door, walked in the house, and screamed for Brian Albert to come out and help you in those precious seconds and minutes, couldn't you?
That would have taken me away from helping John, getting Kerry blankets, giving him compressions.
And making those 2 very important phone calls at 6:07 and 6:08 that you say were not answered, correct?
They were not important phone calls. I tried to call my sister, and then I focused on John.
They were not important phone calls, but they were important enough for you to make while John is clinging to life right there in front of you, right?
As I was walking over, I called to see if she would answer.
And she didn't answer. Let's talk about that. She didn't answer according to you.
So if we're going to talk about it, we're beyond the luncheon break?
Your Honor, I have 2 more questions,
Okay,
and I'll wrap it.
okay.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Sure.
She didn't answer the phone, did she?
No, she didn't.
So you have a situation where a man is laying dead or dying in the front yard of your sister's house. You see nothing in terms of life inside the house. Lights aren't coming on. They're not getting up. They're certainly not coming outside, right?
They were sound asleep
They weren't coming outside, were they?
because they were asleep.
You didn't know if they were asleep. All you knew was there was a severely injured man on the front lawn of their house, and your sister didn't answer the phone, not once, but twice, correct?
Correct, she didn't answer the phone.
Did you think your sister might have been in peril? Did you think to go inside the house and check that they're okay?
I had no reason to think that they weren't okay.
You had no reason to believe they weren't okay. A man was dead or dying on their lawn, and your sister's not answering the phone. And nobody is coming out to the chaos of Karen Reed screaming on the front lawn. You didn't think there was some reason to believe they could have been in peril?
I didn't, because your client was screaming she hit him. She had a cracked taillight. She was crying she hit him. I didn't, but my focus... Can I finish, please?
You had solved the crime right then and there. You solved the whole case.
No, I didn't. I knew John never came in the house, so I had no concern for anyone's safety inside the house.
The reason you didn't go inside the house is because you knew better. You knew better. You knew she wasn't in peril. You knew that Brian Albert wasn't in peril. You weren't worried at all about them, were you?
I was not worried at all because something happened on the front lawn that had nothing to do with anything inside that house.
You weren't worried about them at all because you knew what really happened, didn't you, Inspector?
At that moment, I didn't know that he was hit by a vehicle and there was taillight.
Oh, wow.
Chris, please follow me.
And how long
Please
is
rise
it?
for jury.
I can't believe that he brought it up like that. Ooh, it's gonna be good after lunch. All right, I will see you guys after lunch. Have a good lunch. I think I'm gonna go grab something, so I'll be back. See you soon. Bye.